Meteorologist John Burchfield here for this week's edition of the Climate Friday newsletter. April's in the rearview mirror, and it's all eyes on some big changes in the weather coming our way for the month of May. We're going to preview some of those changes, explain why it's been such a chilly and damp start to the month, and also some changes that you can expect as we go forward towards the month of May. So let's break down the science and explain where we've been in the month of April, and also looking ahead to the month of May, what you can expect as we head towards the next couple of weeks and beyond. Let's dig into the graphics in this week's Climate Friday newsletter. Thanks as always for joining us, whether it's on YouTube or WTOL 11+. Good to have you here. Every Friday we've got the latest information on climate change and both the weather here at home. So let's start off by talking about rainfall. In last week's edition, we broke down the history and the science behind that old saying, April showers bring May flowers. Well, we did see some April showers, but they really didn't arrive until the end of the month. Overall, April's going to go down as a below average rainfall month. We only got a little over 2 inches of rainfall during the entire duration of the month, and it was really from one extreme to the other as we started off the month with warm and sunny conditions and ended the month with cooler and damp weather conditions. Normally, April ties for the second wettest month of the entire calendar year. So yes, there is some science to those April showers. A normal April features nearly 3.5 inches of rainfall, and keep in mind we got a little over 2, so this will go down as a drier than normal month of April. What about the temperatures? Average high temperature in April is up to 62, and this is a month that features some big time changes. Now this April was one that was a roller coaster of weather as far as the temperatures are concerned, and we actually ended up above average in the temperature department. That is largely due to that mild stretch of weather that we had early in the month, including an entire week of 80-degree plus temperatures. That doesn't tell the full story, however, because even though we ended up above the average high, we did have some cooler days towards the latter half of the month. Spring rainfall is really commonplace, and it goes to show that we are entering the rainiest time of the year. Statistically speaking, May is the wettest month of the calendar year in Toledo and Northwest Ohio, and we get almost 4 inches of rainfall during the month of May. So even though May is notorious for those beautiful flowers that come up after the April showers, well, the showers don't end just because it's a new month. April is the second wettest month of the year, and it ties for that spot with June, which also records an average of 3.45 inches. Now, I know it's been mostly rainfall, but late season snowfall, it does happen from time to time. The month of April actually does average some measurable snowfall with just shy of 1.5 inches of accumulation, and thankfully we avoided the late season snow. At least the accumulating snow did still see a few flakes and some areas of mixed precipitation, but this April did not record any sticking snowfall, even though it is something that happens on a fairly regular basis. All right, let's look ahead towards the month of May. What can you expect? May is the #1 wettest month of the calendar year, so even though we are turning over a new leaf with a change in the weather pattern, you can plan on a number of rain chances and even some early season thunderstorms. May is a month that also brings average high temperatures ramping up at an exponential rate. The average high for the month of May comes in at 73, and by the end of the month, it's going to be close to 80 degrees. Some major changes during the month of May, and you'll feel those changes within the next couple of weeks. May is a month that is growing warmer as a whole, and climate change is one factor that does play a role in that. Within the past decade alone, May temperatures have warmed up by 2.3 degrees, and we actually had to readapt and readjust our averages and our definition of average simply because we've surpassed the normal so many times. The new average for May is much warmer than it used to be, in part due to climate change, and that is a trend that you'll continue to observe in the future. Now, if you're someone who likes the warmer weather, this bit of news may come as good news to you. Our average highs in April are in the low 60s. By May, we're going to be up in the 70s. And of course, as we round the corner from spring into summer, that is when those temperatures really begin to surge and skyrocket. By June, our average high is up in the low to mid 80s. And July, that is the hottest time of the year in Northwest Ohio and southeastern Michigan, an average high of 87 degrees. And again, that is based on our new normals, factoring in this era of climate change that we live in. These summertime temperatures didn't used to get quite that warm, but now we have an entire month where we get up to nearly 87 degrees on average. In addition to the brighter and warmer days, we're also going to get those longer days, and this is something you've inevitably seen, especially in the evenings. If you're watching this on Friday, the sunset time is at 8:36 p.m. By the middle to latter half of May, we're going to be pushing 9 o'clock p.m. sunsets. That is good news for those of you that like to enjoy those lighter evenings, and perhaps for those after school and evening sporting events with the kids. Middle of summer, those endless summer days, right around the summer solstice, we get the 9:11 p.m. sunset time. And by July, we start to wane down as sunset drops back to 9:03. The entire summer still features some nice light evenings, but come July, you're going to anticipate a little bit of a decline in the amount of daylight that we get, at least compared to June. Now, some changes in the weather are coming our way. We have seen a pesky low pressure system that has brought us persistent clouds, rain showers, cool and damp weather across the entire Great Lakes region, and we've seen frequent on and off showers. We're going to see a big time shift in the jet stream that'll usher in some milder than normal conditions. This is what we call a ridge in the jet stream, and that'll welcome back some temperatures that are near normal by this weekend and above normal into next week. Looking ahead towards the middle of the month of May, that orange color that you see features mild weather across the entire Great Lakes region, with the bullseye across the central Great Plains, where temperatures are expected to be above normal. Now, keep in mind, our average high is going up, 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 so mild means 70s on the board in that 10-day forecast, and also even looking beyond towards the middle of May, we're going to see warmer than normal conditions for a good portion of the lower 48 United States. Bottom line, the weather pattern is going to do a big time 180 as we look towards the start of May. I know it's been a couple weeks of featuring some chilly conditions and damp and cool, but brighter days are on tap, and also a mid-May warm-up. That is something you can plan on, and at least for the next 2 weeks, we're going to have some milder than normal conditions. Now, May can also be a wild card, and as I mentioned, it is the wettest month of the year, so even though we have some brighter days on tap, there will be a good chance that we're going to see some wet weather by the end of the month. As we look ahead towards the rest of May, you can stay tuned every Friday for the Climate Friday newsletter. We'll have the very latest each and every week.